Welcome to Bogota, Colombia, a city of over 8 million people. In fact, there are 14 cities in Colombia that have a population over 1 million. 8 of those cities do not have a Church of God congregation. We need your help to train church planners to reach these cities for Christ. Que viva Colombia! Que viva Colombia! We are Wayne and Phyllis Wozniak, missionary educators in Colombia.
When my husband and I became new Christians, we felt the call to ministry almost right away. And both he and I had the opportunity within 6 months of feeling that call to be enrolled in a Bible school and be receiving the training that we needed to do ministry. And yet, as we've traveled and worked in South America, we saw it in Peru, and we see the same thing happening now in Colombia, that there are young men and women who have been saved, who have received a call to ministry, who have a hunger to do the work of God, and yet they've waited for years for a place to study.
Phyllis and I have been involved in missions education, training pastors for 25 years now together. We've served in the Dominican Republic. We taught in a Bible Institute in Washington. We were in Peru for 8 years. We have a real heart for training pastors. We served as pastors in 3 different churches and enjoyed pastoring, but really feel like we're wired to be missionary educators.
As my husband had said earlier, we were in Peru for 8 years, loved what we were doing, loved Peru. We're dreaming of retiring in Peru, totally content with the work we were doing, and yet God began to stir our heart. And we began to question and share with each other, what's this we're feeling? Why am I suddenly feeling this discomfort? Why am I suddenly feeling, well, maybe we need to move on past Peru?
And sure enough, when Brother Pagan contacted us and we shared with him about how we were feeling about Peru, that our time was up, he immediately said, well, what you did in Peru speaks for itself, but if you feel it's time for you to leave, I'd like you to consider praying about Colombia. And then he said, I was there just a couple weeks ago, and the overseer asked me specifically, can you send us missionary educators? And we've actually had Colombian pastors that have told us with tears in their eyes, man, we have been praying for someone to come and open a Bible Institute here. And when we hear something like that, it's hard to not get excited. There are several things that Phyllis and I are needing from you at this time. We're needing prayer covering. We need prayer that the Lord would anoint us to do effective ministry. We are needing help with our startup costs for moving to Colombia. And then we are needing monthly support to help us in Colombia. Things are a lot more expensive than they are in Peru. Our rent in Colombia is more than double of what it was in Peru. Water, electricity, utilities are a lot more expensive. And then we are asking all of our sponsors to help us with a major offering to begin the Bible Institute. We hope to start our program in 2009, and so we're asking all of our sponsoring churches to give us a major offering.
We also want to say we're thankful to you. You've stood behind us our entire time on the mission field. We've been so blessed with faithful sponsors who pray for us and who care for us and who communicate with us through email, and you've just been a part of our ministry, and we thank you for that. And we ask you to follow our passion as we move from Peru to Colombia with the same passion to reach souls, to train young men and women for ministry, and to see a country changed through the power of the gospel.
Phyllis and I both recognize that we could not be on the field without your support. We're very thankful for 8 years of partnering with you in ministry in Peru, and we look forward to partnering with you in Colombia.